You're listening to the Good Question Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Our goal is to make each of our guests exclaim, that's a good question. I don't know the answer. Because when that happens, it means you, the listener, may be inspired to learn more beyond the interview and to ask great questions yourself that lead to new insights. In this podcast, we cover historical and current anthropology, comparative religion, and history. Welcome, and let's get started.
Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with the Good Question Podcast. I've got two great guests today, Peter Der Manuelian and Fabien Barati. We're going to talk about Egypt's wonder of the world, the Pyramid of Khufu. I believe the documentary called Horizon of Khufu. Peter is a Harvard Egyptologist, and Fabien is the CEO of what's called Excurio. So again, we're going to talk about their roles and what they're doing in finding these relics and bringing them to the public's attention. So welcome both of you.
Nice to be here.
Hello, Richard.
Yeah. Thank you.
So maybe Peter, can we start with you? Just a bit about your background and how you first, not learned about Khufu, but were able to visit it, see it, and document it.
Sure. Well, I grew up in the Boston area, and we have a great collection here at the Museum of Fine Arts Boston, and that helped spur my interest in ancient Egypt. And ever since fourth grade history class, that's been my passion, and I never grew up. So my first trip to Giza was in 1977, and I've been working at or with the site or regarding the site ever since.
Wow, amazing. And Fabien, what's a bit about your background?
So after my studies, which were around 20 years ago, I co-founded the company, and this company called Excurio. And since then, we've been creating virtual reality and augmented reality experiences. And for now, around 6 years, we're building a new kind of experience that we call the immersive expeditions.
Yeah, I remember I took my family to Rome, and we went through the Colosseum and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. And I wish that there was something I could, like glasses I could put on that would show me what everything looked like, 2,000 years ago, and then maybe it would play forward through time how these buildings, these sites like decayed and became what they are today. I thought that'd be really cool if you could do like an overlay, so people could see what things used to be and what they are now. Is that anything similar to what you guys are trying to do?
Well, it is, because we do reconstructions of some of these ancient monuments. And so from my perspective as an academic, we're always interested in what condition is the site in today? What condition was it back in the 4th dynasty, so 2500 BCE or so, and all points in between. So to be able to reconstruct all of those phases is a pretty exciting thing to do.
Is the technology good enough to do that, or there's something still missing to be able to do it?
Technology is good enough. I'll let Fabien speak to that. It's the academics and the preservation and the excavations that are always the challenge.
Okay. What first sparked your interest in Khufu and to make this whole motion picture about it?
Yeah, so we've been making projects about the pyramid for a very long time. So it was Horizon of Khufu is not our first project on the pyramid itself, but it's the first immersive expedition about the pyramid of Khufu. We worked with Peter on other projects before on the Giza Plateau, and when we created this first immersive expedition that were launched in 2022, we wanted to partner with Peter again to be sure that what we shared with the visitors, with the public, would be perfectly well reconstructed, state-of-the-art researches. And what we wanted to share also with the audience is really unveil a bit of the mystery about this great monument that is not so easy to get into, and to allow everyone to discover, explore this pyramid as it is now, but also as it was 4,500 years ago.
Yeah, amazing. With I don't know. So both of you have been there, and you've been at the site. You spent quite a lot of time there, I'm sure, right? Seeing it in person, excavating it in person.
Absolutely. So the project that I run now is not so much a new excavation, but it's a documentation project. So there was something called the Harvard University Boston Museum of Fine Arts Expedition, and it was run by a man named George Reisner, and he actually lived at the pyramids. The dig house was just a collection of simple huts, and it was called Harvard Camp, and he lived there from about 1903 until his death during World War II in 1942. And he worked not just at Giza, but at 23 different archaeological sites up and down the Nile. But Giza was headquarters. And so it's based on all that archaeology and all the records that he left behind that I started something called the Giza Project. And there is a website, giza.fas, like Faculty of Arts and Sciences, giza.fas.harvard.edu. And our goal is to try to assemble all the archaeological information about Giza. So it's not just the traditional photos and maps and diaries and plans, but thanks to Fabien and his team, now we've moved into 3D modeling and immersive experiences. And this is great, not just for academia, but for the general public and for education as well.
Yeah, I see. I'm in Austin, Texas, and I see just this December, as we're recording this now, they're starting to sell tickets for this VR experience, which is really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Horizon of Khufu is launched in Austin. It was also just launched in Chicago. The place called EXP, a new venue. And it's great. So you go there. You wear virtual reality headset, and there is a huge space where you are free to move. So you physically move with your headset on, and you have the feeling that you are exploring the corridors, the chambers of the pyramid. And it's not only that, because inside the experience you also meet with different characters that will tell you all about the history, the architecture, the purpose of this monument. And so it's a bit like a guided tour, but it's more than that. So it's a whole story with also some sensations, because at one point we'll be at the top of the pyramid, and there are a lot of things in those 45 minutes.
Have you gotten any feedback yet from people that have gone through the experience, the VR experience?
Oh yeah. The feedbacks is great from the visitors. You should go there to see by yourself, of course. And
I will. Yeah,
I won't spoil anything, but
I just texted my family to see who wants to go next Thursday. Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly that. This is also something that you share with your friends, with your family. This is virtual reality, but this is also a social experience. Because you see each other as avatars inside the experience. So you do the whole experience with your friends, family, colleagues, and you can communicate, interact between each other. It's a very natural way to experiment this kind of installation. And yeah, it's very enjoyable, and we have great reviews.
So I can say that very often people think of putting on a headset as a very solitary or isolated experience, but this is the opposite, because you're in a large space and you're walking around freely and you're fully immersed inside the pyramid or around the pyramid or on the top of the pyramid. And as Fabien said, you can see other real people as avatars in your headset. So no one is crashing into each other. And so it's a real physical, tangible, as well as immersive experience.
Yeah, how do you prevent people from banging into each other?
Well, you'll see them. They're sort of ghostly, but they're avatars. And so it's quite clear at any time when you're within the boundaries you're supposed to be in, and nobody wanders astray or has any accident.
Okay, good. What was it like when you guys went through it? Having been there in person, what do you feel like you really captured, your experience? Like, what is it missing, if anything?
Take the heat on the flies.
And the back pain from stooping to look at stuff and go into tunnels and stuff, right? Into chambers.
Although you see people actually bending down in the space, in the experience, because they really feel like they have to bend down so they won't bump their head on the top of a wall, which of course is not really there, but it sure looks like it is.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But beyond that, how do you feel like it's, how was it?
Yeah, I must have been to the Khufu pyramid a few times, and it's an experience in itself. You shouldn't be claustrophobic when you go there. It's very hot, can be crowded as well, and it also lacks a lot of information. And you have access to just a few of the corridors and chamber of the pyramid as well. And so I would say that Horizon of Khufu is a good complement to the real thing, because you will learn a lot about a lot more than actually going there, and you will be able to access also parts of the pyramid that you cannot access in real life. So I think it's good to do both.
Yeah, doing both is important. No one is suggesting this is a replacement for going to Egypt or experiencing the pyramids in the real world. That's a one-time kind of experience. But in the virtual reality show, it just brings you so much added value in a way. At one point, you're actually standing on top of the Great Pyramid with this amazing view of all the tombs and the cemeteries around you. And of course, that's something that's illegal to do in Egypt today. You can't climb the pyramid. Or at another point, you actually become giants where you're much, much taller than the pyramids themselves. So imagine walking around the site and being able to look down at the Sphinx or down at these tombs. For me, that's probably the most unique perspective of the whole experience.
Yeah, that's really cool. What makes a place open to the public or not? Like, what are some of the choices that go into it? Like, I guess something where someone in average physical shape would likely to get hurt doing, you probably wouldn't let them do. But what are the other factors that determine whether a part of a pyramid or a site is accessible to the public?
Well, the Egyptians are always trying to strike a balance between making things accessible and protecting the monuments as well. So Giza has just undergone a huge change because 1 mile to the north, the Grand Egyptian Museum is just opened to huge popular acclaim. This is the largest museum on Earth dedicated to a single civilization. All the Tutankhamun treasures have been moved there, for example. And so there will be a lot more traffic, even more visitors to the pyramids right close by. Over the years, they have done a great job with site management that just opened up a new sort of entranceway. There are now electric buses where you can hop on and hop off. And in terms of what to visit, the pyramids usually rotate. So in order to give them a chance to breathe and recover from changing humidity and things, you may find the Great Pyramid is open during one visit and the second or the third is open another time. There are also some of the surrounding tombs of the elites that have decoration in their chapels, and some of those are open to the public as well.
Oh, okay. So they have to let the sites rest sometimes.
Right.
Or the conditions are not optimal for people to go in there.
Well, it's just when any human wanders into a confined space, the humidity from your breath and perspiration and things changes the climate, and so you've got to give these things a chance to recover. They also have air and filtration and lighting and all of that too. So it's a safe place to go.
Well, yeah, and too, if it's, let's say it's 110 outside and it's like 140 inside, you're probably not going to be going in there to look around,
Sometimes it's cooler inside than outside.
Like, I can see sometimes just your sweat would probably like destroy everything if you were in there. Crazy. Did going through this reveal anything that wasn't apparent when you were there in person?
Fabien, do you want to talk about the voids and the cavities?
Sure. So, inside the pyramid, there are still a lot of mysteries about its construction and also what's maybe left unexplored inside this monument. And so there have been some scientific researches recently that discovered some voids, empty spaces inside the pyramid that we still never been to inside. And so that means that there's still secrets, rooms, maybe, at least big spaces inside the pyramid that still needs to be discovered. And so we're talking about that inside these experiences as well. So this is the kind of thing that when you go to the pyramid in real life, you cannot expect. And it's crazy. I mean, I've been there before doing this project and after seeing Horizon of Khufu, when you imagine all what's behind the walls, it's totally crazy.
Well, where are these void spaces? Are they all over the pyramid? Are they just up high? Like, what do you believe their use is?
So these places have been detected over the last several years with cosmic particle rays or muons, muography. And that's basically sort of tracking the reaction of these cosmic particle rays. They react differently when they're hitting solid stone versus when they're hitting an empty space. And so the new discoveries are these large cavities. Some of them are near the entrance. Some of them are above the so-called Grand Gallery. And it's not clear yet what exactly it's all about. Is it a construction anomaly? Is it an actual chamber? We can't even really define the shape and the walls and things. All we know is that these are new, and they're new to us anyway, and they're important, and they're certainly worthy of further exploration. So these investigations will continue in the future.
I mean, well, have you found similar void space structures on a lot of the archaeological sites in Egypt, or just this one?
Well, actually, the third and smallest pyramid at Giza belonging to Menkaure has just turned out what seem to be additional cavities, and these are on the east side, which is unusual because the entrance is always on the north side. So we're not quite sure what the significance of this is either. Some people think it might signify an eastern entrance that's been covered up by granite casing stones, but we need to explore that further too.
Interesting. I mean, has not construction, but exploration ever broken into these void spaces by accident or deliberately when they weren't laws to stop people from doing it? And if so, what was found?
No, the voids haven't been seen by the naked eye. The best we can do is the muography, and maybe some tiny cameras eventually can peek inside, but there are no doorways to date.
So when they were building, did they it must have been deliberate. They created these, right?
Well, it's another question. If some would believe these are construction anomalies, then they are cavities, essentially part of the construction process. So,
So it could have been an accident. Like they were, I mean, they seem way too precise. I haven't been, but I've heard like, a lot of these structures are incredibly precise the way they're laid and everything. Why would they do that? And then inside they go, we'll just wall off this part,
Well, the Great Pyramid does have some very precise placing and orientations and things, but then if you look at the ground truth, you will find blocks of different sizes and irregularities meant to be covered up by casing blocks, which were quarried away during the Middle Ages to build medieval Cairo. So it's not an entire structure of absolutely pristine and fine and razor sharp and perfect to a T type of construction. There's mortar, there's all kinds of things going on. So that's a bit of a misconception.
Is it like Las Vegas? They wanted to make the public facing parts like really nice and everything else they just kind of covered up.
Well, a lot of Egyptian monuments are that way. The facade gets the carving and the paint and the attention, and what's behind it is not so finished or dressed. And that's par for the course. I won't say that it's kind of an artificial facade that way, but you definitely focused a lot of your attention on what would be seen and what would be accessible.
Is there anything in any of these void spaces, or do they all seem to be empty?
That we don't know yet.
But how do you see into them at all? What are you using, like ground penetrating radar adapted to go through walls, or how do you know?
Yeah, so there is this technique of detecting particles called muons, which are cosmic particles that go through us and anything up to a certain point. And when you can detect them, when you can detect enough of them, at least, you can also detect voids. So this is how basically a research program discovered those voids inside the Great Pyramid. So there are two voids they discovered so far. One is extremely big, extremely vast, as big as the Great Gallery. The Great Gallery inside the Pyramid of Khufu.
What do they take readings of the wall and the flux of muons is higher than it should be so deep into the pyramid or something?
Yeah, the way they understand, the scientists understand there are voids is because you simulate the full pyramid, and if you get more muons that you should at certain places, that means that there is a void. The muons were further than expected, and that's how they understand, they know that there is a void. And it can be quite precise. The thing is, there are not many muons. So those studies are very long, several months, and you don't get a lot of those particles. And so, yeah, it can be tricky to have a detailed result, but they managed to do that.
You can see the shape of the room, right, pretty clearly, and you can see that it's a void space. But can they see any objects in the room, big, small, anything like that?
No, it's not precise enough. It's not enough. It's not even precise enough to understand the exact shape of the space. So this is still a mystery.
Well, are there any other technologies? If you know where the void space is, and you point other technologies at those blocks, is there anything they can see through them yet?
So there are other technologies to go through the rocks, but they all have some limitations. So there is a radar that was also used already a long time ago inside the pyramid, and that discovered different things, but very close to what already exists. Whereas the big void is quite far from what we already know inside the pyramid, and for now, at least, only the muograph can detect that.
Well, what does the law say? Is anyone, like, would the Egyptian government ever say, all right, submit a plan, you can go in there with like a really, really tiny drill a hole in an inconspicuous place, put an instrument or two in there to see what's behind the wall?
Well, that's up to them. There have been various international collaborations so far, and there will be more. And the Egyptian Antiquities Authorities will be the ones to decide what the procedures will be in the future.
Well, what have they told you all so far? I mean, that you can disclose. Do they have any interest in finding out, or they're like, leave it alone? It's our history. It's enough to know that it's there, or what's their position?
No, absolutely. They're interested. And Zahi Hawass is an Egyptian archaeologist who has spent a lot of time at Giza and has been on the various committees headlining this work. And so they're as interested in anyone in finding out more about the details. But it's all about non-invasive techniques. You don't want to do any damage to the monument. So they're very careful about that.
Is there anything close where they think they'll be able to get insight as to what's in these voids?
You mean to get close to physically enter them?
Yeah, or is there any technology that's really promising where, like in the next 5 years, do you expect that we'll be able to see into them? Or is this going to be, who knows, could be decades, could be never that we see into them?
To be determined, but the technologies, and we've seen how X-rays and CAT scans and things have improved over the years. So who knows what's coming down the pike? I'm sure I'm not the most informed about what the best methods going forward will be to use.
Is there anything in any structures that hint at these void spaces or talk about them somehow?
You mean in hieroglyphic texts?
Right. Or, like, I don't know if they use arrows or indicators or anything. Is there anything that would tell you that there's something behind here?
Not specifically about these cavities. The greatest discovery was over a decade ago on the Red Sea coast when the oldest papyri, inscribed papyri, were found, and they document various aspects of the construction process of the Great Pyramid. And they have an official who's got a journal, and he's recording how many days it takes to move objects and stones and things from one place to another and bring them to Giza. But there's no specific mention about cavities.
Oh, that's interesting. What was in the documents about the construction that maybe gave you new knowledge about it?
Well, it tells us or reinforces what we thought we knew, which is that building the Great Pyramid was a national project, and it made use of materials from all over the country. So people were going to the Sinai Peninsula for copper, and there were boats on the Red Sea coast, and there's granite from Aswan, which is hundreds of miles south of Giza, and other quarries of fine limestone blocks. And so this official, whose name is Merer, and he figures in the story, in the Secrets of the Pyramid Builders, the new version of the VR experience that a team has just released, and people will be seeing that soon. All of this comes to life in the story, where you learn about Merer and his travels and moving objects and materials that are needed for the construction of the pyramid. And you even visit one of the tombs of a very high official whose name is Ankaf, and he's mentioned in these papyri that were found by the French Egyptologist Peter Der on the Red Sea coast. So the VR experience, visits Ankaf's tomb and gets to see him exploring the decoration of his chapel, which isn't quite finished yet. It's a pretty nice experience.
Well, that's cool. Very interesting. This was Khufu ever, how was it discovered? Was it discovered by robbers or by archaeologists?
These papyri? No, they were found by a French Egyptologist named Peter Der, and he was doing excavations around some storage caves on the Red Sea coast where the Egyptians had brought their ships. They'd had to dismantle them to carry them to the coast, and they would store them along with ropes and other things. And these fragments of papyri turned up in these caves and around them. So scientifically excavated, and Talay has already published several volumes about them, and there's even a popular book by him with another colleague called The Red Sea Scrolls. Not the Dead Sea Scrolls, but the Red Sea.
And what about the Khufu pyramid itself? Was it robbed at any point or broken into, or was it found in a more orderly way?
More modern entrance was bored into it to find the original entrance on the north side, but aside from an unfinished sarcophagus in the so-called King's Chamber, there are no grave goods or decoration or inscriptions in any of the three Giza pyramids. That comes later with pyramid text inscriptions in the next dynasty and at another site.
And now that you've found void spaces have been found, I'm sure there's scientists that are going to all the other sites and looking for void spaces. Like, has this been done, and have they found lots more now that they're looking?
Well, Fabien, they also did testing at the site of Dashur, right, with the pyramids there?
Yes, in Dashur, but I don't know if they did that elsewhere.
So as far as you know, are there void spaces in other structures, or just this one?
Not clear, and most of these explorations have taken place at Giza. There was a test of the equipment that was done at a site called Dashur, which has pyramids that predate the Great Pyramid of Khufu, but I don't know of similar explorations at other monuments or other sites. Egyptian monuments change in shape. You get temples, not just pyramids, and you get columns and rock-cut tombs and different shapes over time and different types of monuments.
Well, Right. But just out of curiosity, is this exhibit, how long is it going to be around? Is it traveling around the country for a period of time in different places, or what's its fate?
Yeah, you'll be able to see it for a few months. Actually, don't really know until when, but you have a bit of time. But it might move, so you shouldn't wait too long. We might also bring along other immersive expeditions on other topics. There is also this new one called The Secret of the Pyramid Builders that Peter just talked about, which is within a sequel of Horizon of Khufu, so another adventure in Egypt. So it might come also in these venues.
Do you feel like this kind of experience has it helped you guys to understand the site better? And even other archaeologists, maybe they can't make it out there, but they can see this. Does it help everyone's understanding of the site to do this? Or is this just for people that have no idea, like the public?
I think, Peter, you can talk as an expert about that. I think it is thought of for general audience, right? For someone who wants to discover, explore, and know more about this monument. The thing is, yes, the reconstruction we did with an expert, Peter. And I think it's quite valuable, even for people who are well informed about the pyramid.
But you actually put on the headsets and there's a story. So there's a guide who takes you into the pyramid, and then some amazing things happen and you go back in time and you meet lots of historical characters and things. So it's mainly meant for the general public. It's educational, but it's also entertainment as well. So for a scholar, it's nice because it's a unique view and a chance to experience the site in a new way. For the general public, it's a very exciting experience.
Yeah, I guess this technology will be good for people that can't get over there, don't have the time, don't have the money. They can still experience it, which is really cool.
Sure.
Okay. Well, very good. I'm like I said, I'm going next week to try out. It looks very interesting. In addition to this exhibit, anything else that's coming up in the next year or two that's going to have similar technology, any of these immersive experiences, or is it going to take many years to create another one?
It takes years to create one, but we are always making new ones. So we are already at our 6 immersive expeditions, and new ones are coming. So each time we're trying to innovate also in terms of immersion, interaction, graphic quality, and also the way we tell the stories, more characters. So always improving on that, and so it's always a new adventure, a new theme, a new adventure.
Okay, excellent. So again, people can put in Horizon of Khufu.
AHUFU. So Horizon UFU. That's version 1, and that's been on display and on exhibit in Manhattan and Atlanta and other places, about 10 different cities around China. And the new version that just came out, the extended story, is called Secrets of the Pyramid Builders.
Okay. Well, very good. Yeah, people can look at it in the city near them. So yeah, anything else we should cover that we haven't covered, or if not, we'll wrap up.
But I think we covered the weapons.
We avoided the void spaces, right? You're very good. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks both of you for coming on, and Peter, thanks for the work that you do at the literally on site, and Fabien for bringing it to life in this really cool way. I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I really appreciate both of you coming for this interview. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate it.
If you like this podcast, please click the link in the description to subscribe and review us on iTunes.
Thank you for listening to the Good Question Podcast. Please email support@thegoodquestionpodcast.com if you have any referrals to great guests for us to interview. Visit thegoodquestionpodcast.com to hear more interviews. And please help us spread the word by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to this podcast.